WGSN-DB Going Solo Network welcomes you to award-nominated relationship internet radio talk show, Going Solo with Cece. Host Cece Schatz is a speaker, author, blogger, and the leading transitional divorce and dating coach with My Friends Connect and Going Solo Next Step. Now, together, let's join Cece.
Hello, this is Cece with Going Solo. You are listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, and we are going to be focusing the Author's Corner, Meet the Author. I want to thank you right away for joining us each and every week. We have such exciting guests on here with us, and we're going to move right forward into our guest today because she is awesome. Her name is Janice Hoffman, and she is the author of Relationship Rules. Welcome to the show, Janice.
Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, it is so great having you. You are located right out there in Boulder, Colorado, but with the internet, you can be reached anywhere. Just to give you guys heads up, this lady is fantastic. She has 19 years of training and experience working closely with Dr. John Gray, who is famous for the Mars versus Venus. And she really specializes in singles, couples, needing to be able to communicate and build better relationships. And I know one of your hot tickets is your Get Smart Dating. So we've got a lot to cover in the show. So tell us a little bit, Janice, about your journey and what got you into doing what you're doing with regards to relationship building.
You know, all my life I was one of these people that just loved to study other people. I'd go to a restaurant with somebody and I'd be staring at, the couple at the next table, putting a whole story together about through their body language and whatever they were talking about. And as I got older, at the time, I always say it was God calling. I had taken a Course in Miracles and had a Course in Miracles study group. And via that, I had started my own meditation group. And I was also a facilitator for attitudinal healing, which is very immersed in the Course in Miracle principles. And Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus came out. And I thought, oh, this would be great. I'll start a Mars Venus support group. And I called the number in the back of the book. And I told them my idea, and they said, oh, we don't have any curriculum or anything like that to send you, but thanks for calling. Well, 2.5 years later, my phone rings, and it's somebody from John Gray's office asking me if I want to be trained as his very first Mars-Venus facilitator.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I said. I didn't even remember giving them my phone number. I know my name. And so I was just totally shocked. And I said, absolutely yes. Went out there and fell in love with the material and his staff and John and immersed myself in learning everything I could about the differences between men and women, and quickly became the training director for the Mars Venus Institute, and then went on to write my book, Relationship Rules. So I very strongly believe that we're different as men and women in every single way and in every single room in the house. And when you understand why we say and do what we do and where that comes from, then you can not take things so personally. And when you don't take a person's actions personally, you can be more of who you are instead of acting at the effect of somebody else's behavior.
Oh, yeah, that's a great statement, and so absolutely true. I love the book myself, and we just started a show here on WGSN called Boy and Girl Thing, and we talk about the differences. And I have a good friend of mine, Christopher Kit Smith, and he does it with me, and we are so opposite from each other. He's very serious and he just looks at things so differently than I do. And then I'm really upbeat and I'm always kidding, goofing around and stuff like that. And he's just, he's funny. He's really, yeah. So it's really funny how we look at things and we talk about dating a lot, online dating, things like that. So just want to do a little plug for that show because it is hilarious as we're talking about the differences of men and women. So, relationship building, coming from relationship loss myself, moving through, and I think a lot of our listeners are feeling the same thing through that transition of dating and getting into it again. Could you give any suggestions of how we can better start to understand ourselves, but still be able to have an open heart, open mind with regards to relationships? Because so often we don't really want to, when we come out of relationship loss, we're not really sure if we do want to have another person in our life, number one. And if we do want another person in our life, we're so guarded sometimes because we don't want that necessarily lose ourselves again within the relationship to where you feel lost and someone doesn't understand you and that kind of thing. So how do we open ourselves up to be able to move forward into a relationship?
I think it has to be a conscious choice to do that. I speak at singles meetups groups and singles events, and one of the things I've noticed is there's all types of singles there. There are, I've had people come up to me and say, this is the first time I've gone to anything since my spouse passed or since my spouse and I got divorced, and it's been X number of years. This is my first putting my toe in the water. They're not ready to date. They're just getting ready to date. And so sometimes when people go to singles events, they're not really even, like you said, ready. They need to do some emotional healing before they can make a conscious decision to say, I want to be in a new relationship, and then that comes with a whole nother set of, what if I invest time in this relationship and it doesn't work out and then I've wasted a bunch of time? So many people I talk to want to have that love at first sight with somebody new, so they don't have to spend time getting to know them and investing in that relationship and then having that person or go away or having feelings change towards that person. And if we're somebody who's, at peace with ourselves and we're comfortable in our own skin and we enjoy our own company, then we start weighing, well, I could hang out with my dog and enjoy myself more than going out with somebody who, irritates or annoys me. Somebody we might think could be a great person can make one comment, and as a woman, one comment can be just a deal breaker sometimes. Everything could be going along fine. You can think, well, this could be a possibility. And then they say that thing and you just go, we're done.
Let me ask you about, and Kit and I talk about this a lot in the boy and girl thing, because his big hot button is chemistry. And when you just mentioned that, well, they want it instantly, they want it right away, they don't necessarily want to invest time in it. His big thing is being able to see someone and know instantly that you've got that chemistry, that feeling, whatever it is, that chemistry is. What is your opinion on that?
I think for as many people that had love at first sight, and I've had that in my life, and it's a wonderful, wonderful feeling. But I think there's tons more people, if you talk to them, that said, it wasn't until the third date or one person pursued somebody endlessly, and then they finally decided one day that they had feelings for them, or they liked each other, and it just slowly built over time. Chemistry is that elusive thing that we have no control over. And the thing about internet dating is you can get everything to line up just right, and you meet that person, and it's flatline when it comes to chemistry. We have no control of it, and it's a mysterious thing that it's either there or it's not. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to pretend and make it be there if it's not there.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. But I do feel, that we have to give people an opportunity, to get to know them. I get it. If you, like you said, you meet and it's this flat line and you just don't have that. And so
many people put it all on the table all at once, like I this, I that, I've been divorced, I have how many of these kids, and oh, by the way, I have $30,000 worth of debt, and I'm bipolar, and don't give so much information away on the first date. People ask me all the time, how much should I divulge, initially of who I am? And, I always say to them, find out if you can have fun together. Let that be the leading, point in your date. Are we able to have fun together? Because in any relationship, when the chips are down, when you're in crisis mode, when things happen that you're not expecting, you need to be able to find your sense of humor.
Yeah, I agree with that. And when I go on a date, I think that's what I do my first date. I don't even think about all the other complicated things. I just want to be able to chat with that person. And if I can laugh and have a good time, then I think, okay, then we must be somewhat compatible. And I guess maybe the chemistry is there because men are very visual, aren't they?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So it's, so if you're there and he's still talking to you, he must be somewhat interested in you. So it's very important for me to be able to have that communication flowing and being easy with that. I'm a talker, as you can tell, being having the show and everything. But that's a very important aspect for me. And I don't worry about all the history stuff and all of that stuff because I fear that will come later as you get to know someone. Those
fun together, and you can connect in terms of conversation. All that other stuff can be worked out,
Right.
I say this with all due respect. Men are very trainable. Men are very simple, and they're very trainable. And if there's a lot of things you like about that man, but there's a couple things you don't, Men will do anything for the woman that they love. We need to not take advantage of that as well.
Mhm.
But, a man will only change for one woman, and it's the woman he loves.
Yeah, that's funny, because I hear that all the time, Adele. Well, I'm not going to change. And see, I'm older, so I'm dating older. We have a lot of our listeners that are, into 45 and older. Some are 50s, 60s, 70s. And so I hear that a lot, see it a lot on the website, on the profile saying, I'm not going to change, all this kind of stuff. But it's not really changing, is it, when you're building a relationship? It's more of really communicating and compromising maybe. But I don't know. When I look in the past, Janice, when I look at my relationships in the past, what I found is the changes that I have made and the changes that the potential, boyfriend or ended up being husband, but changes he made, it wasn't something that was really kind of conscious. It's just kind of something that evolved. What would you say about that?
When I've interviewed couples that have been together 30, 40, 50, even 60 years, the common denominator that they say when I ask them, what do you attribute the longevity of your relationship to? They will always say, I made their happiness as important as my own. And when you make your partner's happiness as important as your own, you don't have to, it's not work. It's not like I have to compromise. I have to change. I have to give this up. You want to be they make you want to be a better person. And so you change your behavior naturally without even thinking about it, out of just a sheer desire to be a better person because of how this person makes you feel, hopefully.
That's wonderful advice.
A lot of times, the other thing to address the age thing, when we get older, the older we get, we think this may be my last opportunity at love. This may be my last opportunity to have a mate. And so we lower our standards and we accept stuff that we wouldn't normally accept because we think that we may not have another chance at life. And can I tell you a quick little story? This couple, it was in a book, and this couple actually ended up on Oprah. This is years and years ago. But this little boy during World War II, he was in one of the concentration camps, and this little girl would come almost every day, as often as she could, and she would bring him an apple. And they formed a wonderful friendship. They were very young. They were maybe 10, 12 years old. And one day she came to see him and brought him an apple. And he said, don't come back tomorrow. I won't be here. And then they moved him. And so fast forward years later, they both moved to the United States. They both got married. They both had children. Their children were raised. They both lost their spouses. And both of their friends separately said, I want to fix you up on a blind date. They went on a blind date, not knowing it was each other. They went to the movies. After the movies, they went out for pie. And they're sitting in the coffee shop eating pie. And they're saying, so, tell me more about yourself. And, where were you during the war? And he said, I was in a concentration camp. And this little girl used to come and visit me every day and bring me an apple whenever she could. And he was telling her this whole story, and her eyes welled up with tears. And she said, I was that little girl.
Oh, wow.
And he said, I lost you once. I don't want to ever lose you again. And he asked her to marry him right then and there. So if for all the people out there listening, if they don't think that it's possible that they could fall in love at 50, 60, 70, 80, even 90 years old, if it can happen to them, it can happen to anybody.
Well, it's being open to it.
Will find you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great thing. And I do believe that. I do believe love will find you. I think you just have to be open, willing to, open your heart and not so much concentrate on what happened to you in the past. Just really look towards the future of all this great, this great stuff that's going to happen in our lives, be able to be there and be, open and ready for it. Right.
Yeah. And, make a list of what you want. I tell people all the time are like, well, you read any profile on the internet. I want someone who's intelligent, attractive, likes the outdoors, likes children. Well, who do you know that wants somebody who's ugly, unintelligent, never wants to go outdoors and hates children? I mean, that's everybody. Mm-hmm. So, what kind of things do you like to do outdoors? What kind of sense of humor do you like? Be specific about what you want, and then go through that same list that you've made, a very detailed, specific list of what you want, whether it's physical or characteristic, whatever, and put a check mark next to the items that you can say, I'm that as well. Because sometimes we want to attract, Mr. Wonderful, but we're sitting in duck soup. We need to heal ourselves too. And many times people will tell you this too. In the midst of healing themselves and focusing on, improving their sense of peace and their self-confidence, Mr. Right for them shows up without them doing anything, just because they were working on themselves.
Yeah, that's true. And I do feel that our attraction level is higher when we are working on ourselves, when we are still growing and trying to be able to reach for the stars, really. Our attraction level is definitely out there. And so you're going to attract what level you're at. And so if you're in the muckety muck thinking negative thoughts and really only going for surface, I call it surface dating. If you're just going for, chemistry only or the looks or whatever, if you're just surfacing like that, that's all you're going to get. But if you really want a higher level of relationship, and you work on yourself and you're at that high level, I think that will definitely come to you. Your partner, your potential partner will definitely enter your life.
And a good partner. I had a friend and she's a perfect example of looking for someone who will heal me because I don't want to do the work myself. Well, she got healed. She got sober. And guess what? She dumped him. She divorced him. Mm-hmm. And all the investment he had in her and all the work he put into her, she walked away from the relationship. So sometimes looking for someone to heal us can backfire in a big way for either one of us.
Right. We have to heal ourselves.
We have to heal ourselves.
Yeah. We can't expect
we're a
someone
work in
else.
progress always,
mm-hmm.
but if we're always setting the intention and doing things that move us forward, that's all that anybody can ask. Oh,
yeah, I totally agree. Well, tell us, how can we get a hold of you if someone wants to reach you?
They can go to my website, JaniceHoffman.com, and it's JaniceHoffman.com. And they can buy my book or my ebook there, as well as on Amazon. And they can send me an email at Janice@JaniceHoffman.com with any questions they have about relationships or communicating. It could be a lot of fun. It is what you make it. And my book is full of tips on how to. Each rule has a how-to for men and women, so that you don't have to wonder, how do I do this?
Sounds great. It's a great book, and I hope everyone will get it. It's called Relationship Rules, and so we definitely want to be able to have a good relationship. That's what we're all going for. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about what can we do to be able to move ourselves forward. But I want to focus a little bit on the Get Smart Dating. And Janice helps teenagers with dating. And I know there's a lot of single parents out there that have kids that are looking, to start dating. And so we want to talk about some of those things to be able to really help our kids as we're dating, as we're starting to go into the dating arena, but also help them to be able to feel a little bit self-assured about being able to do it. So I think it's a great topic. It's called Get Smart Dating. We have Janice Hoffman with us, and we'll be right back. So this is Cece with Going Solo, and I want to thank you guys for listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. We have terrific shows on, each and every day, 24/7. We are a live streaming station. We also have what we call our tiered affiliate marketing, where we put it on other affiliates, the shows on other affiliates, so that we can really get out there and get a whole circuit of people that are listening, make you more aware of all these fantastic shows. And let me tell you about these shows. They go all the way from relationship recovery, from transition of dating itself. We have inspirational for both men and women shows. We have a business showcase that rocks, an author's corner that is exploding, which is becoming the most awesome book area. What's happening, I think, with the Author's Corner and also with the Business Showcase is you get to learn about the person behind the book, the person behind the business. And so it makes you understand and connect with them a little bit more as you want to use their product, services, and read the book. So I think it's really a very cool thing. And I like to know about the people and be able to then move forward. And you get an understanding of, why they wrote the book and moving forward with that. So it's kind of a cool thing. So I wanted to thank you, myself, being the owner of WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, and also having this show, this platform, which is the Author's Corner, Meet the Author, and Going Solo with Cece. I just wanted to thank you so much for listening to us each and every day, and we love being here for you. All right, we're going to head back to the show. We have Janice Hoffman with us, and she is an award author of Relationship Rules. And let me tell you, we all need help with building relationships, whether you're in one, out of one, starting one. And so that is what is so important. She has 19 years of training and experts working with Dr. John Gray, who wrote the Mars and Venus. You know, we all have heard that Mars versus Venus book. And so she's kind of put that together in a whole training segment. Her book is absolutely terrific. She also has Love Rules, of the 50 strategies of navigating love and life. That's going to be, you've already have that in existence, right?
That's getting published this year, actually.
Okay, so that's coming out this year. So we have something to look forward to. But her current book is Relationship Rules, and it's a 12 strategies of creating love that lasts. And that's what we're actually looking for. So thank you, and welcome back to the show, Janice.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, it's great having you. You know, the first part of the show, we talked a little bit about, you know, moving forward in our lives and trying to look at relationships and understanding that it's not all about changing. It's actually about when you meet someone and they're really important to you, you want to do things or compromises, or you want to be able to move forward in your life in a way that's going to benefit the people that you love. And so I think that's what's so important with regards to building relationships. But this part of the show, I want to try to shake it up a little bit, and I want to talk about this fantastic program that you've put together, and it's called a Get Smart Dating, and you've kind of focused this around families and teenagers. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, think back to being 17 years old. Your body's changing. You're attracted to the same or the opposite sex. You're getting ready to maybe go off to college. So you have to figure out what your major is as a junior in high school. You have to apply for college. You're almost legal. You only have a intellectual knowing of what that means. So many things are going on in your life at 17, 18 years old. And I have such a love for these kids because it's got to be one of the hardest ages to be. So I go into the high schools. They have a class called Living on Your Own in the Boulder Valley School District. And there's a part in the curriculum where they talk about dating and relationship and communication skills. And they were using Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus as the curriculum. So I came in 20 years ago with this program and have been going into the high schools for 20 years now, teaching Get Smart Dating. And it's skits, before and after skits. Like, this is a guy asking a girl out with no dating skills or communication skills, and this is what it looks like with communication skills on both sides, for the girl and the guy. We play the dating games, and the questions come from the teens themselves that they want to know about each other. One of the most popular questions that boys want to know at 17, 18 years old about girls is, why do you go to the bathroom in groups, and what are you doing there? You wouldn't think as an adult that would be an important question to them, but I'm telling you, it gets them all going. All the guys are like, oh yeah, we want to know this. Because the idea of talking to a guy at a urinal, it just is not in their reality. Girls want to know why guys don't call back, why they don't stay with one girl for very long. It may not seem like important questions to older adults, but you know what? It's really important to them. And when they get their hearts broken, and they don't have anyone to go to, or they turn to somebody and try and tell them how much they're hurting, and they say, oh, you shouldn't feel like that, and boys don't cry, or, you know, just say next. There's plenty of guys out there. That's, you know, diminishing their feelings. And when feelings don't get heard and we don't feel understood, they can build up, and we can end up with much more dangerous, you know, behavior on our hands. And so I believe it is important to learn dating skills at a young age so that you can be more successful in every area of your life, whether it's understanding men and women at work or in a love relationship or your children. It's all valuable information.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And like we talked prior to the show, and I think it's so important because what you do when you're younger, it really does help shape your lives. And so, you know, you're based on your insecurities and how you feel about things. And so you're really basically learning communication skills, and also keeping, as being a young woman, being able to communicate, but also understand that you, as you're continuing on with dating and building relationships with the opposite sex, you have to stay true to yourself, and you have to respect yourself, your body, you know, your mind, your heart, soul. So it's very important to all that.
Sometimes these kids never hear that. One school district here in Colorado, the health department or the health curriculum has a class for ninth graders and absolutely nothing for for 10th, 11th, and 12th graders, they get no classes in health, which happens to be life skills. Nothing.
Right. I remember being, raising my children and thinking the same thing. It's like so surprising. And I mean, just like finances stuff and writing a check. And of course, we're not doing that so much now. But back in those days, writing, keeping your bank account and making sure you understand why you want to save and how to go about saving. And so if you take that and put it into relationship building, and you're talking about building relationships from every aspect, whether it be from dating or, moving forward into your career, anything like that. Everything we do with another person, we're building some sort of kind of relationship, aren't we?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the things I talk to the kids about. It's like, you have to build a foundation. We go so much in relationships. We go from, hi, you're cute, let's take our clothes off and have sex. We don't build a foundation. And I talk to these kids about building a foundation, because when the problem occurs, when he doesn't call when he says he's going to, when she flirts with another guy, if you don't have anything a foundation of the relationship to fall back on, it's over.
So what about moving forward when we're talking about, couples that have been divorced and now they have single, they're raising their children, single parents. Any advice you can give to the parents as their children are starting to date? I actually have a 14-year-old now that's going to be probably dating soon. And although he was very aware of women, girls, when he was younger, he kind of gotten into sports, kind of gotten off it a little bit. And now I'm sure it's going to be, back into the forefront. So what do you do when you're a single parent and you're talking about dating?
I was a single parent of 3 kids from 4, 6, and 8 years old, so I totally get it. And I thought I was a great listener here. I'm, Mars, Venus. And what I learned is they want us to listen in a way we're not used to listening. They want us to listen and then not say anything. They don't want our advice. They don't want our critique. They don't want feedback. They don't want us to play devil's advocate. And the best advice I can give parents out there is to listen to your children and then let them know you were listening, but don't give them your dissertation back. They don't care how it was when we were teenagers. And we have all kinds of knowledge to impart to them, but 14 to 20 years old is not the time. They don't care. They're not interested. There's a time when they will be interested in knowing those things, but that's not the time. And my best advice is to just listen with the sheer intention of listening and not talking. And It's really hard to do. But the more they can listen, the more the kids are going to open up. The reason these teenagers shut down is because they tell us something and then we go, well, you shouldn't do it that way. You should do this, and whatever. And we're trying to be helpful, and we don't realize we're shutting them down. And that's why they don't talk. Mm-hmm. We want to open up and talk. We need to listen without giving any advice, without playing devil's advocate, without all that. Just listen.
Right. And really ask those open-end questions so that your child will be able to share more with you. Like, how does that make you feel? What do you think about that? What do you think about going forward? What you want to do? That kind of thing. And it allows them to basically think about what they want to do as they proceed. And I guess, if you feel like you need to give them advice, maybe ask permission.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Well, yeah. You can ask permission, or you can pose it in or you can frame it in, have you thought of it from this point of view, without letting them know that's your point of view. And that's why communication skills are so important, because when you learn how to pose a question so as not to get somebody on the defense, in fact, get them in inquiry mode rather than defense mode, now that's true communication. Because if your child or your teenager is telling you something and you go, well, why'd you do it like that? They're going to think, well, next time you ask me, I'm not going to tell you, because I don't want to, I did it like that because I thought that was the best thing to do at the time. Why else would I have done it that way? Why are you asking me, why did I do it like that? Mm-hmm. And so they shut down. And that's why, how was your day? Fine. What's going on with you and your friends? Nothing. They don't want to hear our feedback. They don't want to hear our opinion.
Well, and I remember being
exactly.
being young too, and thinking I knew I had all the answers. And
exactly. We're very self-centered at that age, but you know what? We're designed to be, because we need to be self-centered so we can have self-confidence as an adult. Mm-hmm. And we forget that, or no one told us.
Yeah.
So it's okay to be self-centered at that age, because if it's part of your building your self-confidence for later, then, thumbs up.
Right. And then also, being younger, and I think as we progress and get older, but in that realm of being younger, it's so valuable to have your own self-respect, to be able to stand your ground on what is right for you and what is something that you're not going to do. And I remember being young and having that challenge at different times in my life. And being able to say, you know what, I've made this decision and I'm not going to proceed with it. Or if I decide to change my mind and make a choice, that I understand that whatever the consequences are, I'm going to have to deal with that.
Yeah.
And so I think it's very, very valuable that we help our young people today to understand that, your own self-respect, whether you be a male or a female, a young boy or a young woman. I mean, I think we really do have to instill in them that respect of themselves and respect of others. And, there's a fine line that you can cross there. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, I've said this a million times, as a woman, we can go get a PhD, we can get 2 PhDs, but if we don't have self-confidence, we might date somebody who would be abusive. Mm-hmm. So we have to have that self-confidence. We have to get to know ourselves. We don't have to, but you have standards, have something that a man can rise to the occasion for. Men want to hunt. They don't want to just, men are hunters and we're gatherers. If you took a man hunting and you just put the animal there that he's going to shoot and didn't make it a challenge for him, he wouldn't want to go hunting.
Right.
He's hunting because it's a challenge.
Right.
If women don't make it somewhat of a challenge, and it's not like we have to play games, but we don't have to give away the farm.
My mom used to always tell me that men like mystery, so you don't have to show it all or give it all away. You have to still create that mystery, and I agree with that. I think that our young people, because sex is so prevalent in everything that they watch TV. I mean, it's just everything they have their hands on to. It's just really sad that kids are growing up so quickly, but I think
I tell kids all the time, and I tell my kids growing up too, I said, even if you have sex every day, really good sex and it lasts an hour, and good for you if you're having sex every day and it lasts an hour, you still have 23 hours in the day to fill. What are you gonna do? I mean, sex isn't everything. You can't have sex 8 hours a day, every day. I mean, it might be wonderful and great, and it's on TV and everywhere else, and we're just saturated with images of it, but you still have a lot of time during the day to fill besides having sex.
I think when they're younger, I don't even think it's an hour.
I know. I was being generous.
Oh my gosh, that's funny, but still, I agree. And it's all about like you said, it's building your relationships and relationship rules. And I totally get that. I think what you do is really awesome. And you give more of a part of yourself. It's really good that you have developed your system that you've got in place with your Get Smart Dating. You've put that in place to be able to help the young people understand more about themselves and what's important. But then I think as we progress in our lives, they'll be able to move forward and take some of the information that you've been able to share with them at a younger age in their lives, and it'll be able to help shape some of the decision making as they progress into their future. So I think it's awesome what you're doing. Yeah.
What I hope is that my voice squeaks its way into their brain when they're on that date and the guy's doing this and they're like, oh yeah, she said.
Yeah, because you know what? I mean, I know that looking in, and I'll just say this real quick, but I know that looking in when I was dating younger, and even now, you feel sometimes as a woman, you have to kind of give in, or you have to say yes or whatever, maybe faster than what you want to, but you don't have to, because the guys, they will take a no or a later or, they will slow down and go at your speed if they really care about you.
And if they leave, let them leave. It's better if they leave early than later.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sad to say, but what Maya Angelou says about that one quote she has: when people show you who they are, believe them the first time.
Oh yeah.
A lot of truth in that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to dating, I recently, and he wanted me to come to his house, and we'd never met before. And I said, no. And he said, well, he knew the general area where I live. And he said, well, how about if you stand on a street corner nearby your house, and I'll just drive by and take a look at you.
Oh, sheesh. You want to do a drive-by.
Like, no. You're done.
How about if you just stick your head out the window as he's going by?
Right. I can put my nose up to the window.
That is low.
That's probably the lowest I've ever heard. I quickly got off the phone and blocked it.
Yeah, really. That is low.
But we have to have standards. It's like, my standards are, you have to this, that, and the other. And it's okay if you don't want to meet those standards, because that's what I want in my life. I'm not willing to accept less, nor should anybody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's about choices that we make. And so let's choose ourselves first,
Absolutely.
Let's do that.
I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think it's great what you do. It's absolutely positive. It's very uplifting. You're helping couples and communicate a little bit easier when it comes to relationship building. And I think it's really what we all want. We want to be able to have that open-ended communication that we can follow through from being very young in our teens all the way into our seniors dating. So, I love that. So I think your book, Relationship Rules, will help not only, the younger, but also at any age that you're trying to build relationships. So I think it's fabulous what you're doing.
Thank you.
Right.
And our kids they're always watching us to see what we do. So the more that we can be the role models for our children, especially our teenage children, they may not say they're watching and listening, but they are. And the best thing we can do for them is be good role models. So the more we can learn and improve ourselves, the better it is for our children in the long run.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I totally agree with that. And here's and just turning it again, it's like if you teach your kids to do the right thing always, it's amazing how that will carry through on every level of every aspect that they do. So it's really all a good thing, a very good thing. Well, I love what you do, and I'm so pleased to have you on the show. I hope we will see more of you. I would like to twist your arm and have you come on and talk a little bit more about what you do and share it with our listeners, because I think I think we've just touched very, very briefly.
And I'd love to maybe we could do one where we just do little skills that you could, little techniques they can use right away during the day to, open up communication or help somebody be more trustworthy.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That would be fabulous. So, well, how do we get a hold of you again? So if we want to reach you.
Janice at JaniceHoffman.com is my email, or my website, JaniceHoffman.com. They can also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and my book is on Amazon.com. I also have a blog. They can leave comments about some of the blog articles I've written as well. And, love being in touch with my followers, readers, and any questions they have, I'd be happy to answer, especially if you're a teenager out there and you have a question, you want to be anonymous, I will answer your question for free right away.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Because I
now,
love.
Do you Skype at all? Do you do any Skyping, or how do you?
I do Skype. Yeah, I do Skype with
Okay.
clients. I do coaching with clients. A lot of times, just 1 or 2 coaching sessions to get some relationship skills in their toolbox so that they know how to communicate and they feel better about the way they communicate. Make a huge difference in people moving, singles and couples moving forward.
And you can do that for all ages.
Yeah, but couples can get, they can get stale in a relationship, or they can get bored, or they can get, especially resentful. And that little resentments kind of add up. And then the next thing you know, somebody's acting out by cheating. And that can all be avoided by just a few communication skills.
Fabulous to know. So actually you can help not only in dating, but really any kind of relationship. So whether you're, dating someone, or you're in a relationship, or, married, which I guess you're in a relationship, you're married, but sometimes not, but you can help with all of those, even communication through careers and business. I think also you would be able to broaden yourself and be able to help with that too. So at any level of communication with building a relationship, I think you most certainly would be able to help. And of course, you can live anywhere if you do.
Breaking up with somebody, I have really great skills for letting,
breaking up.
Well, because nobody, people don't want to be dumped, but you can actually, let a relationship go, for lack of a better term, maybe, and have that person leave the relationship not feeling dumped, but feeling like you respect them. It's all in the words we use and the delivery and the tone. We're not born with these communication skills. So
yeah, that would be great to do. Well, it's great having you on the show. I've learned a great deal too, and I know that there's so much more we can learn from you. So I hope that we will be able to arrange something to have you on WGSN-DB. I would love that. I'd love to have you on Going Solo Network. So we'll work out something with that.
It's so much fun. I love it.
Yeah, well, that's great. Well, again, if anyone wants to reach Janice Hoffman, you can reach her through www.janicehoffman.com. That's JaniceHoffman.com. And then again, her email is the same, right? It's Janice Hoffman. Yeah.
Janice@janicehoffman.com.
Oh, Janice@janicehoffman.com. So if you want to email her, all you have to do is just email her and let her know that you want to talk to her, and then you guys can arrange some sort of Skype or something like that. But I'm sure there's a contact button on your website too, so they can reach you through that way. But it was great having you on the show. I enjoyed it very much.
Thanks from sunny Boulder, Colorado to everybody. Thanks so much.
It is great having you. Again, her book, which is an award-winning book, which is Relationship Rules. So you can go ahead and get that at Amazon and start reading it right away, because I think it will definitely help you in every aspect of whatever relationship you are in. So that's great. Well, thank you. And we're going to have to close out the show. It goes by so quickly. I loved having you on the show. Anything closing you wanted to share with the listeners at all?
Life is short. And the last rule in my book is, if you love someone, don't assume they know, tell them. And so I encourage everybody listening today to tell somebody that they haven't said I love you to say I love you today.
That is so nice. Well, we love you listeners, and we want to thank you so much for listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. This is Cece with Going Solo, and we've got to meet the Author's Corner, some of the best authors here, and we have Janice Hoffman with us today, and it's been a delight. Thank you again, Janice.
Thank you.
Okay, bye for now.
I'm getting stronger.